Okay, so we're on chapter 10, lesson 3, and now we're talking about hundredths. So example 1, Drew has a 100-piece puzzle. There are 4 corner pieces in the puzzle. What decimal represents the part of the puzzle that is corner pieces? Okay, so I could shade 1, 2, 3, 4 to show my 4 corners, but that's not what it's asking us to do. It's asking us to show the decimal. So I'm going to go in the same path. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. It's customary to fill in an entire row and then go to the next row and keep them all lined up so that when we're going to write it out, it's easier that way. Okay, so this is how the model would look. If I was going to use my place value chart, I would draw my ones, tenths, and hundredths. And I have 0 ones, 0 bars or tenths, and I have 4 hundredths. So that would be how it would look in a place value chart. I would just have to draw a chart. And that's what it's asking for in the second step here. So down here I would write 4 hundredths of the puzzle pieces are corner pieces. And there's how that page should look. Example 2 has it rained 13 out of the past 100 days. What part of the days did it rain? Write as a decimal. So they've written it here for us, 1th to stand for the 10 here, and 3 boxes. So there's 13 total squares that are shaded in. The model shows 13 parts out of 100 that are shaded. 13. Oops, it's still doing lines. 13 out of 100. 13 out of 100 equal parts is 13 hundredths, or I can use this text box that I've been be written that way. 13 hundredths on the place value chart would just be 0 ones, 1/10, and 3 hundredths, or 13 hundredths. So it rained 13 hundredths of the days. There you go. Okay, so now looking at my hundredths chart, I have 0 whole charts shaded, so 0 ones. I have 0 full bars that are shaded, so that would be 0 tenths. And I see 2 squares that would be shaded, so that would be 2 hundredths, 0.02 or 2 hundredths is how that one looks. This one I still have 0 whole boxes shaded, so 0 point. I see 2 bars that are shaded, so that would give me 2 tenths. And I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hundredths, so that would be 6 hundredths or 26 hundredths. Okay, so like always, I would encourage you, now we're on the independent practice, you should pause the video and try and solve these on your own. If you get stuck, you can come back and keep watching, or you can come back to check once you've completed this page. But these are things that are exactly like what we've done in the example, so these should be ones that you can work on before checking your work here. Okay, so write each decimal. I've got no grids that are completely shaded, so I have no ones. There goes my decimal. I have no rows that are completely shaded, so I have 0 tenths. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 hundredths. So 0.07. That's how that one would be written. Let's try using some text boxes here. Okay, so we've got 0 holes that are shaded. We have 0 full rows that are shaded. And if I count those boxes, I will see 9 hundredths that are shaded there. Okay, so the next one. Now I do have some full rows, but I don't have a whole grid, so I still have 0 whole, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows, so that will put 4 tenths, and then if I count those I will see 8 hundredths that are in the row that is incomplete right here. So this row has 8 squares that are shaded, so 48 hundredths would be the correct way to read that, with 4 tenths and 8 hundredths. Okay. Now looking at this problem, I have no holes, so I still have 0 point. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 full rows shaded. And I know there is 10 in this row and there is 1 less, so 1 less than 10 is 9. So that would be 9 hundredths. We could read this 59 hundredths. There are 5 tenths and 9 hundredths. Okay. Next one, I've got no ones. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 whole rows and 1 square left over, so that's 7 tenths and 1 hundredth, or 71 hundredths. Now this one, since we've almost got a full box shaded, I can, instead of counting, I can just count backwards from 100 to get how many are left. 100, 99, 98, 97, 96. So 96 hundredths, or 9 tenths and 6 hundredths. Okay, that's how those are written. Okay, so I've got some coins here, and I need to write the decimal for the coins that are shown. Okay, and it's easiest if I start with, and I see 10, 20, 30, 40. So in my text box I have no dollars, I have 4 dimes, and then I have 1, 2 pennies. So 42 hundredths is how that one would be written. 4 dimes makes 4 tenths, 2 pennies makes 2 tenths. Now they've got some different coins in here that we haven't done before. So I can tell that our first 2 coins here are quarters. Each quarter is worth 25 cents. So 25.50. Now we've got a different coin than we've seen before. This is a nickel. So we're at 50 plus a nickel is 5 more cents. So 50 plus 5 would give me 55, plus 1 more penny would give me 56. I have no dollars. I have an equivalent of 5 dimes, even though it's not 5 dimes there, and 6. It would be equivalent to 6 pennies, but they've written it differently. 56 cents, or 56 hundredths is the correct way to record that one. Now again, we've got some quarters here. So we've got 25.50. Then we've got another 10. 50 plus 10 is 60. 60 plus another 10 would be 70. 71, 72, 73. So we've 0 whole, 73 hundredths. Last one's different. 25.50 75. 75 plus a nickel is 75, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84. To write that as a text box would be 84 hundredths. And that's how that page is done. Okay, so on the back, the problem solving, to try and work on these on your own before you watch and get the answer. Emma earned 89 out of 100 points on the math test. So here is my math test worth 100 points. If I was going to show 89 on my grid, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 80, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 89. So I would have 0 whole and 89 hundredths. Now, if I want to write that as a sentence on the right, Emma earned and if I wanted to be really awesome, I would say on her math test, but I don't think I have room in my text box. Okay, so that's number 13. 13 says a department store had 100 suitcases. 6 of the suitcases were sold. What decimal represents the part of the suitcases that were left? Okay, so now we're looking at our grid and we've got 6 out of 100 that were sold. So they sold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But it's not asking that. The problem, the part of the suitcases that are left. So I'm going to need to figure out not this part, I'm going to figure out what weight is. So in order to do that, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94. 94 hundredths, which if you're doing decimals or fractions would be 94 over 100, but that's not what it's asking us for. So this is the decimal version. Write my complete sentence here. Oops. The store has the store has 94 hundredths of the suitcases left. I would not say 94 suitcases, 94 hundredths suitcases left, because that would mean you cut apart a suitcase and had not a whole suitcase. 94 hundredths of the suitcases left is the way to write that correctly, because you're talking about a total of 100 there. Okay. Benna received the coins shown as change after buying pencils at the school store. What part of a dollar are the coins? So we've got a 25 here. If I wanted to show that on my place value chart, I could, and then I could just keep going with it. So let's do that. 25 would be 10, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. And then the dime is worth another 10. So in order to do that, I'm not just going to color another bar here, because I need to keep going through my grids like this. So I'm just going to color in 10 boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that makes this a complete bar. And then she had a penny. Okay, so that might help to, when you're doing the coins, if you have a paper that you can print with the grid shaded in that way, that may help you solve the coins, because now I can easily see 10, 20, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. which I need to get out to the hundredths place, tenths, hundredths, 36. And so I'm going to write my sentence. The coins are of $1. And that's how that one is done. Okay, with number 16, least number of coins needed to make 90 hundredths or 9/10ths of $1. Which coins are used? So this is a question more about coins than place value. So as you're working through it, the best way to find the least number of coins, as it's asking for here, is to start with the greatest coin value. And we're going to assume we're not using half dollars with quarters. And keep using quarters until you can't anymore without going over the 90 cents. And then swing dimes. And when you can't use any more dimes without going over the 90 cents, then switch to nickels. And you should not need to switch to pennies. So I will tell you that the least number of coins is 5. So your job is to figure out which coins are used and write that down below in these sentences. You can do that. You can also get out some coins and try and practice around with them. Number 17, how can I use decimal grids to model hundredths? This one is exactly the same as what we did in the last lesson, which was lesson 2, for modeling tenths. So I'm going to refer you back to this building on the essential question from the last lesson and use that, what you wrote there in your own words, and just expand it to, or change it a little bit to include down to the hundredths place. So that's how you're going to solve number 17. And if you have extra time in your minutes of working on math, then please do the math homework from here, and then you can check it with me during our math lesson or at the end of the week when I show the answers on YouTube. So please do that. Thanks for all your hard work.